My real first touching on grief was the death of my mother. Up till that point in my life, there had been some significant deaths in my familial line, though the adults in the line largely kept the kids sheltered. Like was very clear that death had no place in my family line or even in the culture around me where there was some kind of holding or support, dialogue around it, communication or understanding. I grew up in a pain and death phobic family as well as culture. And growing up in that and having that messaging really instilled in me the patterning that death is something to be feared. And so anything that was around death or anything that felt like a death, and I'm not just talking about a human dying or a pet dying, I'm also talking about the little deaths that we experience from day to day, the cycles as women every month, the change, the transformation that takes place within our lives consistently, that even those places and spaces where grief touched into, I had a fear on. I was taught to fear the grief. I was taught to fear the places and spaces where endings and beginnings were, the thresholds. And so when my mother died, it was a very difficult initiation into grief, very difficult initiation into death. And it was messy, it was chaotic, it was disjointed, there was a lot of dysregulation, a lot of confusion, and primarily at the root of that, there was a lot of fear. And the fear was there because I didn't have a map, because nobody had shown me and taught me that this actually is part of life and living and humanity and relationships. And when the grief was there, it flooded my system. It flooded my system. So much so that it completely knocked me off my feet, like pulling the rug out from underneath me. I didn't have any anchoring or any place of reference. I didn't have a support system or a community that had an understanding of what grief was and how to move with grief and how to support me in my own grief. It was significant. It's significant to lose your mother at any age, but it was really significant for me because there was no mapping, because I was just starting, on my own journey in my own life. And it was a huge turning point. It was like a complete rupture of everything in my life up till that point and a restarting again. And the grief, what I didn't understand is I tried counselors, I tried grief counselors, I tried to speak to those around me. I did try the resources that I knew was available to me. And in the end, there's only so much talking you can do around grief. There's only so much sharing that you can do around grief. When grief is in the body, that's where it needs to be tended to. That's where it needs to be witnessed. Where it needs to be sat with and be with. And that's what I didn't understand, because every time the grief came in, I felt like it was something I had to do. It was something I had to think my way out of. It was something that I had to lean on and find support for, which I was very good at